Good morning. Happy Monday. This is episode 17, Mondays with Coach Rice. I am your host, Coach Rice, your professional certified life and health coach and trained mental counselor. Woo-wee. I had a full-blown weekend. I had a massage yesterday. I'm kind of still in that massage mode. As you could tell, I'm kind of relaxed. I'm not all like jumpy like I normally am, but I am, I'm still enjoying that, basking in that mode of of having a massage. But I also had the privilege and by the grace of God of actually celebrating 32 years of marriage this weekend, which was really nice. Actually, we had a good time. I always have fun with my husband, and we did have a good time. And so I'm still in the series, The Art of Fostering Healthy Relationships. I'm on part 6 actually today, and I'll be talking about healthy marital relationships. The reason why I chose this subject is because I'm starting to see a pattern in couples that I see where they're ready to throw in the towel. I'm ready to go to. It's time for divorce. That's kind of at that level, and I think that it's interesting because the problem is it's over 50% of marriages ending in divorce. That's really higher than it's too high. It's starting to be a problem. It always been a problem, but it's really starting to be more and more, either more and more. It's happening more and more, but it's also I'm seeing a lot of like people are just not getting married at all. Marriage have really been taken way too lightly, I think, in my opinion. And I just remember when marriage used to be where you didn't divorce unless it was infidelity or physical abuse. Now it's like, it's so different. The divorce rates are happening due to the contributing factors of like financial issues. Infidelity is one, and lack of communication. The what I see more of than anything is we're not compatible anymore, and I'm like, wow, that's pretty interesting that a covenant agreement that was made is taken so lightly. So I thought about it, and I ponder on: are we focused more on the dress, the venue, the gifts, in the honeymoon, or are we just going through the motions of tradition and saying I'm doing this before God, but am I really letting God in my marriage? And am I truly honoring what it means to honor a covenant agreement? Because that's a covenant agreement is powerful, and I believe in my heart that there's a few things that's happening. When it comes to like walking down the aisle and taking those vows, I often wonder, are we really taking this seriously? Do we really understand what we're actually doing when we step into the realm of marriage? Because I'm not gonna lie, I'm gonna be honest. When I went to City Hall and got married to my husband that I am 32 years in with, by the grace of God, that's why I say by the grace of God, is because the traditional vows that I stood before a judge said this. It said to hold in good times and bad. I think I only heard the good. Richer or poor, I think I only heard the rich part. Sickness and health, I think I only heard the health part. Will you love, honor, and cherish? And I'm just going to be honest, I didn't really get into the other part. I heard all the good stuff and I was enjoying, and I was just in the moment. But I'm going to be honest with you, I didn't really go into depth of that agreement that I actually verbally publicized before a judge. But also, I didn't even think about it when I was signing what I was really actually signing when I got on. Because when you in that honeymoon stage, you feel like the Hallmark Channel. That's not true. That's like that's not the heart of marriage. Marriage take work, but there's purpose in marriage. It's designed for a purpose. And I think we have to get back to the original plan, because I'm finding that the original plan for marriage has been distorted and is not taken seriously. But in order to go back to the original plan, we got to go back to who made the plan. God created the plan for marriage, but he created it for his purpose, and he created it for a purpose. I noticed that throughout my marriage, I'm able to experience not just the good times, but when we have conflict, I'm able to experience forgiveness. I'm able to experience mercy. I'm able to experience patience. I'm able to experience just being able to have empathy. I'm able to experience all the attributes that God has in my marriage. And so I don't see, I may not always see the Hallmark version that the television, portray, because marriage has, so it's such a serious dynamic, but it's also a dynamic that really fosters growth. If you really look at it, if you're really doing it properly, it fosters growth. And so, but anytime you take anything out of its original purpose and plan, you're always going to end up with negative outcomes. Just remember that. But God's plan for marriage has a structure. He has a structure, and he also has tools that we use to get to what we need to be. He didn't leave us high and dry. So the awesome part about it is that he has a structure. The structure goes like this, according to the word of God. First of all, it talks about it in Ephesians, where he talks about how the structure goes. He kind of Paul talks about it, and when Paul talks a little bit about the structure when he was trying to bring structure to the church, when he talked about it in Corinthians, 1 Corinthians 11:3, when he said, head of every man is Christ, and head of a woman is man. He talked about the structure in that particular area, but it was really basically to get the church in order. And so, but when he goes into, when he brings it up again and talking about the marital structure. And so when I looked at Ephesians, the first part of verse 21 says, submit to one another in reverence for Christ. So that means that, in essence, my husband and I are supposed to submit one to another under the leadership and authority of Christ. And so submission has gotten a bad rap because it's taken out of context. When he says submit, when you think about submission, that don't mean that I'm a doormat. That doesn't mean that I have no value. That doesn't mean I withdraw what I have to talk about. That doesn't mean that there's no superiority and inferiority in this particular relationship. It is a mutual commitment and cooperation that's happening. And if I put it in simplest terms, submission actually is to yield up under. And so, but the plan of God, he put that plan in place for a purpose. I find it interesting that we can go to a physical job, have a leadership over us, submit to that very easily. But when we get home, we struggle with submission. And so the first part say submit one another. And so I always think about the triangle. I think about it being a triangle, like Christ at the head of the tip, and my husband and I, we at both ends of the spectrum. And so I picture God is saying, I'm head over your husband, So to me, that means men, it's time to step up in leadership. If we have to submit, we can't submit to foolishness. So I pray that men step up and be leaders of the family, and so that we can do our part, because we're not there to be your doormat. We're there to be your helpmeet. We want to help you meet what God purposed for our lives together. But we can't do that if you don't step into where you need to be. And it makes it hard on us to submit if we can't do that. But also, wives, we are to submit under the authority of the leadership of our husband, which means that we actually don't want to tear him down. We don't want to emasculate him in the position that he's trying to hold, so he can properly do his position. But we also want to support him along the way as he continue to grow, as he continue to do what he's supposed to do, because his position is to serve us. But we can't serve in a proper way if we're not treated in the way we're supposed to be treated, or they're not making proper decisions. But we also can't emasculate him and tear him down in his position. We are there to support him. So what I do is really, in my marriage, to follow that, what I do is, when my husband is, I honor his decision making, because I pray that he's listening to the Lord, and I pray that his decision making is, I pray we're going in the right direction. Is he going to make mistakes? Yes. But it's not for me to tear him down. But what I do is, when I see him, if I see him drifting the way I might think he is according to the word of God, I just go to God in prayer. And if God give me something to say, I say it. If he don't, I let God deal with it, because he's dealing with both of us at the same time. If you notice, the triangle is going both ways. So he's dealing with me, helping me support my husband, but also dealing with my husband, helping him lead me and serve me, because that's what he's there to do. He's there to serve as a leader in my life. And so as we go through this, the Bible talks about it. It talks about how I'm willing to submit to my husband, really because of his leadership. But like I said, he has to step in. He has to step up to the plate when it comes to leadership. But I'm there to help him meet the goals that we have in our marriage. But a lot of times we're so quick to say, I'm done. It's easy to say I'm done. It's easy to walk away when conflict comes. But can I stand the test of time when I'm hit with so many things coming my way? Can I stand there and stand by the covenant agreement that I made with God, so that we can grow, because conflict is gonna come. If I can be with you when you up, I need to be able to be with you when you down. I need to be able to pull you up when you down. If I can't do that, that's a problem. And it's happening in marriages where there's no we anymore. It's all about, how can I be happy? This person is not making me happy. Well, you need to be happy anyway on your own. I don't give my level of happiness, that I don't give my husband that responsibility, because I don't see he's supposed to support me in my happiness, but I'm not asking him to make me happy. I'm already there pretty much. And if I'm not, I need to talk to the Lord to figure out, how do I get joy in my life? But we're so quick to walk away from a marriage when the chips are down, and we didn't think about sickness, health, rich or poor. We like, no, when you ain't got no money, I'm up. When you can't walk anymore, I'm up. And that's really not a marriage. That's really not honoring the covenant agreement. And so how do we get back to the basics of this? Because the Bible has a structure, but how do we get back to the structure? We have to get back to the Word of God, because He created the structure. But what we can do is we can utilize the tools He gave us to actually embrace marriage in a healthy way. Number one, we got to be able to communicate. If you got secrets in your marriage, I'm gonna tell you what happens. It brings division. If I come, and it's so subtle too. If I can't go to my husband and tell him something, that's a problem. The minute in my head I say I can't tell him that, I'm actually creating a bridge between him and I. And then once that bridge is there, the gap goes wider and wider and wider, and now it's really infiltrating the level of intimacy that we can't have, because there's a secret in the middle. They call it white lies, but no matter how small, I created a divide between us. And once that divide I'm stepping into a level of safety and trust that I don't give to my marriage. And so what happens is I start to build more dividers, because I didn't tell him this, so I can't tell him that, and I can't tell him that because it's connected to this, and then this connected to this. Now the trust is gone. And I don't even realize it. Just because he don't know, don't mean the trust is not there. That the trust is that he can trust me. He can't trust me if I'm not being honest with him. And if I can't come home is my sanctuary and his sanctuary. We can't come home and be authentic with each other, we bring a divide between us. And once that divide is there, the intimacy level goes down. We may not see it until we get till it starts to build up. Now we have a divide. Now there's a level of respect that we don't have for each other anymore, because there's a divide. So I'm seeing him in a different view because I lost respect. And now I'm starting to compromise in other areas. And so now the marriage starts to break down. And I'm not willing to work through, because it's too much baggage in between, and it seems unreal to reach the top again. So we have to really be careful. In order to grow a marriage, you have to water it. You have to be intentional about watering it. Me and my husband now, we have open communication. And when we don't, or we see something off, we talk about it. And we really we will talk all night until we figure it out, because we value trust, the level of trust in our relationship. Are we perfect at it? No. But I want to be trustworthy. I want to respect my husband. I don't want to compromise my marriage. I'm willing to work through whatever we got to go through. Anytime, I always talk to the Lord, and I'm like, Lord, I'm willing to do whatever I need to do for this marriage to work, for us to do what we need to do according to your plan and purpose in our life. In order to do that, I'm constantly in prayer, but I'm also intentional about, I have to water this marriage. I have to set time out. I have to continue to help it grow and take care of it, because whatever I water and focus on, it's gonna grow. I'm learning that in my business. I water it, it's growing. If I don't water it, it's gonna die. And when it dies, it's gonna die. It's really gonna grow weeds around it, because it has no other things to, no other nourishment to help it grow. But we have to get back to the basics. The basic plan for marriage that God structured is the leadership plan. In order for that leadership plan to work, we both have to do our part. And if we're not doing our part, the marriage will not work. So I just want to encourage you guys in your marriage, stop running so fast. figure out where are the deficits in your marriage and get the help you need to fix it, because you made a covenant agreement and you said you made it before God, but were you really intentional about what you were saying and what you were signing? But even though you wasn't, start to think about what it is that you need to do. My husband and I, one day we said, man, I don't think we love each other. Do we love each other? We looked up First Corinthians and chapter 13, they talk about what is love. Love is patient. Love is kind. Every time I read that, I kid you not, even to this day, I get convicted of at least one of those things on there. And so it's really, that's true love. The love that the world teaches us, that's lust. But the love that the Bible teaches is really, that's real love right there. And we had to go in prayer and say, Lord, can you please help us get there? Because we're not where we need to be. And we always assess in our marriage and finding out we ain't where we need to be. Let's go in prayer and let's ask God to help us, because we value the sanctity of our marriage. We value the covenant agreement we made. We have to be there for one another, even to death do us part. I want to know I love the fact that the relationship I have, I know for a fact that if I was to go through any type of sickness, my husband is right there because he has proven it. When I had to take care of my mom, my husband was right there with me 100%. Was it perfect? No, but we really went through and we really learned what marriage really truly is about. It's about sacrifice. It's about work. It's about actually all of the attributes that God has to learn about how to be in relationship with him is all in the marriage. So there is a beauty of that. So I would definitely advise, if you really seeking divorce, and if it's not physical abuse or infidelity, think again and see if you can get things worked out before you throw in the towel, because marriage is a powerful unit. Two people agreeing in agreement is powerful. And I don't think we realize how powerful that is. But two can't walk. The Bible says, how can two walk unless they agree? If you don't agree, you got to figure out why you don't agree. So get the help you need. Call a counselor, call a therapist, call your pastor, or whoever you have to get the help. Pray, do whatever you have to do before you throw in the towel, because marriage is a beautiful thing if you can make it work, but you gotta water the garden. So have a happy Monday. Thank you for tuning in. I'm still relaxed and I'm grateful to be here this morning. Talk to you next week, and thank you for listening. I am signing off. Happy Monday.